This week in nerdy news, this is LTNN. Last week, we told you about A Day Off Twitch, a campaign that saw many prominent streamers not go live or interact on Twitch at all to show the platform that they mean business when it comes to Twitch's responsibility to put an end to hate raids, where a bot account follows a streamer and then raids that streamer with more bot accounts, all set to spam the chat with racist or hateful messages. The campaign saw a 5 to 15% decrease in usage that day, and of course, a drop in revenue. Twitch is obviously taking this seriously, especially with a less problematic service always being an option, as they have lost several of their biggest streamers recently to YouTube gaming. Twitch responded to the calls for action with several updates to its safety features and a promise that more action was forthcoming. Now, Wired reports that Twitch filed a lawsuit on September 9th in U.S. federal court naming two defendants, here only listed by their screen names, Cruise Control and Creatine Overdose, and alleges that the two are responsible in part for the rash of hate raids we've seen in the past couple months on the platform. In the lawsuit, Twitch said Cruise Control is responsible for nearly 3,000 bot accounts associated with hate raids. Bots developed and deployed by Cruise Control have been linked to various hate raid events, including those targeting Black and LGBTQ streamers with racist, homophobic, sexist, and other harassing content. Cruise Control has admitted to using bots to flood Twitch channels with harassing content. They have also demonstrated how the bots work so others can use similar methods to accomplish hate raids themselves. Twitch has also linked Creatine Overdose directly to hate raids. For example, on August 15th, 2021, defendant Creatine Overdose used their bot software to demonstrate how it could be used to spam Twitch channels with racial slurs, graphic descriptions of violence against minorities, and claims that the hate raiders are the KKK. The suit also alleges that both of these people are in Europe. While hate raids are still happening on Twitch, affected users do see the suit positively. Lucia Everblack, one of the organizers of A Day Off Twitch, thinks this is a good step. She said, "It obviously doesn't address the larger issues about how this still continues to happen, but does send a message that these people doing it can be found." Here's hoping. Until Twitch gets a full handle on it, streamers have taken it upon themselves to build resources, including the Hate Raid Response resource, where you can learn, share, and create preventative and reactive measures to counter hate raids on Twitch before, during, and after they occur. For more information, visit hateraidresponse.carrd.co. That was This Week in Nerdy News. I'm Radio Matt, and this is LTNN.
Hello everyone, I'm Donnesa McPherson, and this is Reviews of the Nerds. Today I'm reviewing the Bible Brawl core game created by Nate Bartlett and Jeff Swartzentruber. Bible Brawl is a battle-type card game that is for 2 to 5 players. It takes both well and not so well-known characters in the Bible and puts them into a battle for the most honor. This game helps to open up a dialogue about these characters that we and our friends may or may not know very well. There are over 40 character cards as well as 40 action cards that each have their own corresponding Bible verse. Bible Brawl is a game all its own. My first impression was of the art on the cards and inside the box. It reminded me of the art of my childhood and added a nostalgic quality I haven't seen in too many games. I love that it is unique, and with its many characters and actions, I had many different opportunities to play different ways in the game. Bible Brawl currently has 2 expansions, which are the End Time expansion and the Not Safe for Sunday School expansion. They also created a neoprene rubber playmat that has the opportune layout for organizing the flow of the game. Some exciting news is that Bible Brawl has 2 new expansions in the works. The expansions are the Angels and Demons expansion and an expansion that includes the Women of the Bible. They haven't come up with a name for that expansion yet, but what a concept! Both of these expansions are actively in the works and will be coming to Kickstarter soon. To keep up with the Bible Brawl happenings, check out their website at BibleBrawl.com, Facebook at Bible Brawl, Instagram at Bible Brawl the Game, and the Bible Brawl YouTube channel, where you can also watch their step-by-step instructional video of how to play the game. I give the Bible Brawl core game an 8.5 out of 10 for playability and the uniqueness of the cards and art portrayed on them. I'm Donnesa McPherson, challenging you to a brawl, a Bible Brawl.
Throwing in the towel. As I walk through parenting and parenting teenagers, I realize more and more the depth of God's love for me. There are days when I've lost all the patience I have, am exhausted beyond belief, and cannot bring myself to say one more time the words that I feel like I've repeated daily. More times than I can count, I've thrown up my hands and walked away from conversations because instead of talking to a sponge ready to soak up all the wisdom I have from my old age, I feel as though I'm speaking to a wall made of pure cement. If my words were visible, tangible objects, I'd be playing a game of dodgeball with them as they bounce off my stubborn, unwilling to listen children's ears and fly into the abyss. But then, like the heaping slice of humble pie I deserve, I'm reminded of God's patience and mercy towards me. His oftentimes stubborn and unwilling to listen child who thinks she knows better in her old age. I'm so grateful that in all the times I've tried to take things into my own hands, he's never once thrown in the towel and said, "Forget it." Just as Jesus shared the words of the lost son and lost sheep in Luke 15 as an example to the sinners and tax collectors around him, let's not forget God's love for us is even greater than the Father's love for his Son, and that his patience is even greater than the shepherd's for his sheep. Just as a father celebrates the return of his Son, so God celebrates when we humble ourselves and turn back to him. And yes, even when we wander down our own path, God is there to guide us home, to welcome us back into the flock with grace and forgiveness. As I'm reminded of God's faithful, unwavering, immense love for me, I'm strengthened and encouraged to better love those around me, even my sometimes stubborn and unwilling to listen teenagers.
Hey everyone, I'm Hector Miray, and this is Faith and Fandom 180 on LTN Radio. So, there are times when you just think, okay, I'm off duty, and I don't have to be myself at full capacity for responsibility. Like, hear me out, like if you go to the beach and you're swimming in the ocean, you think, all my adult responsibilities aren't with me right now. Or that you kind of take yourself out of your normal element. Well, this past week, I was hiking with my daughters. We drove an hour and a half outside of our city to a hiking place. It's a kind of a famous spot for our area. And we were hiking for almost 5 hours. It was a good hike. Got a lot of exercise, got to skip some stones across a river, do some fun stuff. And, you know, we've been walking about 4 miles. We're tired, we're sweaty. And one of my favorite things about hiking is that I don't have cell phone signal and people can't call me for a while. So that's super nice. But as we were hiking, you know, my mind kind of goes away where I'm not thinking about everything else. I'm not worried about deadlines. I'm not worried about workloads and stuff like that. And I can just enjoy where I'm at. Well, as my daughters and I were hiking, all of a sudden from ahead of us on the trail, I hear, "Hey, there he is." And sure enough, there was someone who knew me. And they said, "When's your next book coming out? When's the next Comic-Con?" And asking me questions about the camp that I spoke at this summer and all these other things. And it's just like, I wasn't thinking about those things. My mind wasn't on that stuff. I wasn't, there mentally, but even though that's not where I was in my head, I needed to be ready to actually answer these questions. And there's going to be times where we think we're off duty as Christians, but we have to be ready. 1 Peter 3:15 says, "But in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give a reason for the hope that you have. But do so with gentleness and respect." I could have yelled back at these people on the trail, "I'm off duty!" But, I gave them the answers they were looking for, even though it was kind of weird. You need to always be ready to share with people why Jesus is your hope. Remember to catch Faith and Fandom 180 every Wednesday morning on the Back Row Morning Show, only on LTN Radio. And if you'd like to learn more about Faith and Fandom, head over to faithandfandom.org, where you can learn about our Comic-Con ministry, podcasts, memes, apparel, and book series. You can even read new chapters before they make it to the next book. I'm Hector Miray, and thank you for spending the last 180 seconds with me.
This week in nerd history, what are you going to do? Use Bing? Nerd history. When Google.com was first registered as a domain name, a lot of other noteworthy things were happening. WebMD went online for the first time. The Spice Girls had a #1 jam on the radio. Titanic won 11 Oscars and made us fall in love with Leonardo DiCaprio. 1997 was a simpler time. Then Google was registered on September 15th, 1997, and the internet would never be the same again, though the search engine wouldn't actually go live for the world until about a year later. Even still, it all began here. What started as a simple search engine that decided to rank results based on page relevance in regards to other pages, instead of just listing whatever page had the search term in it the most, has now become a company so large and varied that many people fear a dystopian future serving our primary colored Google Plus overlords. Speaking of Google Plus, what a flop that was, eh? Truth is, the company has seen almost as many failed projects than it has successful ones. Not only did their projected Facebook killer Google Plus bite the dust, but that was their second attempt at a social network, though they did stick with that one much longer than Google Buzz, which was similar to Twitter in function and lasted less than 2 years. Google Lively, Google Latitude, Google Wave, Google SideWiki, Google Health, Google Ride Finder, Google Answers, Google Video, Google Spaces, Google Offers, Google Code, all failures. And you'll notice all failed versions of other programs: Second Life, Foursquare, Slack, Wikipedia, WebMD, Uber, Yahoo Answers, YouTube, Messenger, Groupon, GitHub. And so that leads us to the other thing that Google is good at: buying their competition when their takeover fails. The most well-known of which is likely the content giant YouTube and maybe the travel application Waze. Say whatever you will about Google's policies, projects, and principles, the company knows what it takes to stay successful and make bank. Its parent company, Alphabet, which actually spun off from Google and not the other way around, has a net worth of nearly $2 trillion. That's trillion with a T. So yeah, in another 20 years, I expect an all-out robot war waged between Amazon and Google for control of North America. I'm Radio Matt. See you next time for more Nerd History.